Facts versus art. What is in between? What is the correlation? What is the battle? What is the strife? That's the question for today. And it is an important question because it may shape the shape of the Zbuling philosophy. Zbuling being the something that we are trying to find, discover or invent depending of what is Zbuling, which we don't know yet. Thankfully, Zbuling has infinite history, so we can go wherever we want and use history as a guide for fighting with the question of today. So let's take it way back. Let's take it to the 14th century, to the High Renaissance. Graffitis don't exist yet, only graffito. Both artists and graffito takers are running through the streets and carving like absolute maniacs. Everything is just so freaking carved that people themselves are becoming graffitos. It's becoming harder and harder to distinguish who is a carver and who is a carvee. A receiver of carving who once was a being, now becoming a carving. Is this man carving? No, it's an optical illusion. He is therefore a carvee, as is the rest of the street. At this point, I don't even know. The cities are turning into optical illusions. You would think that this is a normal street, but no, it's actually a carving of carvees carving a carving. See those poor people peeking through the door? They cannot go out because the street doesn't exist anymore. It was demolished to make more space for more carvings. Anyways, the video has nothing to do with carvings. I just wanted to say that we are in the Renaissance. In this carver city, there was an academia. And on this academia, there was a scientist who made a discovery that stone as a material is heavy. But Berniniac, the sculptor, disagreed.
Stone is heavy due to its dense structure. Scientifically, the term heavy is appropriate to describe stone because it signifies its relatively high density compared to other substances.
Look around. Stone can be heavy, but it also can be light. Depends how good of a sculptor are you.
Really? But I have proven my declaration. You have to prove yours.
Ha 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 ha, I think I can do that. Sculptors unite. Let's show them what we got.
Heavy is just a point of view. Don't you say that my sculptures are heavy. They can hold the lightness itself forever.
In terms of emotional effects, stone can be one of the lightest materials in the world.
Heavy is just a possible state of the material. Nothing is heavy inherently.
Sculptures aren't proof enough for you? Architecture can fly as well.
Trust your senses, trust your eyes, believe what you see.
This is a movement of lightness.
And so it became a movement. And during this whole dispute, the people of Zbuling have learned a valuable lesson. They have learned that the species of humans are capable of remixing scientific facts through art and innovation, and consequently widen and diversify the cultural landscape of human nature. And this realization stayed with the people of Zbuling even in the modern age. But now, it's not just scientists and artists playing the game, it's brands, companies, politicians, whatever. I will give you a recent example. The fact is that feathers are light, that feathers float. To be light as a feather. To which a transportation company called Podomo Peblak responded, "Oh yeah, feathers are light. Let's make them fucking heavy then. Alright, start a new production line. Let's call it the F-Series, so everyone knows that it's coming from feathers." The F-Series, pretty cool, huh? But you know what is even cooler? The Z-Series. The Z-Series are crazy. The Z-Series are the most monumental machines in the universe. They are also mining machines, but they are mining asteroids and planets and I don't know what else, and black holes and this type of shit. And the Podomo Peblak company needed them to be so monumental that they approached monumentality experts, and those experts invented a new physical law that stimulates and swells the volume of these machines depending on your point of view. This is your eye. This is what you see. Let's define it as y. If you are close to something, the y will be small, and if you are standing in a landscape, the y will be large. It's changing depending on your point of view. Now here, I will write few examples of some of the names from the Z series. They are always called something like Z16 red, or Z12 blue, or Z25 yellow. It's like Tatra 613. All companies use numbers. We are interested in the middle number because that will play a role in our equation. The middle number we will define as x. Now for the equation. The volume V of any given Z equals everything that you see times the number. And since the numbers are larger than 1, the Z is going to be always bigger than everything you see. So Z16 red is always 1.6 times larger than everything you see. So if you are close to one, it may be large like a car, like a vehicle. Once you take few steps back, the volume grows to a size of a building. And if you observe Z on a landscape where your Y is large, then you're seeing a mining machine that is larger than moon or larger than planets. A good citizen of Zbuling, Skuliak Maniak, claims that he has seen one with his bare eyes. I don't believe him. I think he's full of shit, but he sings about his experiences in the song Z16 Red, and so you can make your own opinion. Some people claim that this whole thing is just an optical illusion, that this physical law is not actually a physical law. I'm not a scientist, so I don't know where is the bridge between science and illusions, but we can ask a scientist what does he think about illusions.
Your sculptures are beautiful, but it's all just an illusion. I can scientifically prove that all of your sculptures, no matter how light they feel, are all, by definition, heavy. The lightness of a stone is just an optical illusion.
But I would argue otherwise, because the emotions that you may feel from those lightness sculptures are real and biological. Even though it may be scientifically impossible to define this whatever emotion that you may feel, it still doesn't change the fact that it is real. The heaviness of feathers also became a movement, and it got quite popular among shipbuilders. But this movement didn't last too long because it got controversial. Why, you ask? Well, because feathers float, and ships also float, and that's a problem. Sure, ships are heavy, but still, they float. Someone was like, look at my feather, it's just attached to the side of my ship. It doesn't actually float. But the public was like, we have to make them heavier. We have to sink them down to the bottom of the ocean. Now, the whole message of this video can be articulated in two simple equations. First, let's start with the equation of cultural movements. So the equation of movement, meaning cultural movement, not physical. Let's define X as anything, which is a funny definition, but it is anything. Feathers, stones, or watch, for example. And now for the equation, X times M standing for movement, equals x squared. So for example, a feather times movement equals feather ships and feather excavators. So from this equation we can see that M, movement, is very good. And now, logically I'm thinking, let's take Zbuling, let's multiply it by movement, and we got Zbuling squared. Anyways, back to the final equation. Equation of facts. Let's define x again as anything. F standing for facts. And the equation is very simple. Any given fact of any given thing can become a negative fact of x. And now if we combine this little equation with the previous one, we got the final one. A negative fact of anything times movement equals negative fact of x squared. And that is what we have been talking about in this video. But now, if we go back to the previous equation, we can see that it's actually wrong. Because feather ships and feather excavators are actually the result of inverted fact of feather. So to put it all together into perspective, x is feathers again, and let's compare two equations, one starting with f positive, one with f negative. The first equation results in cultural highlighting of the original, scientifically true factor, lightness in this example. So you got feather balloons, airplanes, airships, all the things you would normally associate feathers with. And the bottom one we already solved, heavy machinery and sunken metal feathers with reefs around them. If we draw the indicator of ground level, we can see that the position of our results is relatively to the ground correct. And if we now define the positive result as A and the negative as B, just to check the results, we can see that the equation is indeed correct. A equals minus B.